A very good evening. This is Primetime News, live here on News First. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Shahan Jarampati, and these are your headlines.
President says he is completely against SOFA and agreements that would allow US forces to arrive in the country. A decision reached to declare railway service as an essential service. Retired employees back in the service. Ministry of Finance says the People's Bank will not be privatized. SLFP and SLPP in discussion today as well. SLFP Central Working Committee engages in a decisive discussion. Presidential Commission reveals that imported heifers are diagnosed with a disease that did not exist in Sri Lanka.
Taking a look at those stories in detail now. President Maithripala Sirisena said today that he is against the Status of Forces Agreement, or SOFA, and agreements that would allow US forces to arrive here in the country.
The president convened the heads of media institutions to a meeting at the president's house this morning. The president said that his objection towards the agreement that would allow US forces to arrive in the country was raised at the cabinet meeting as well.
With regard to the SOFA agreement, there is a new one, Visiting Forces Agreement.
I
am thoroughly against this. I have spoken of this in the cabinet as well. With regards to the East Terminal of the Colombo port, I clearly stated I am against the initial proposal that came for this terminal. What is taking place now is not the initial proposal. The proposal that we received was something that was not favorable to us at all. As a result of my struggle, Sri Lanka received 51%, India took 15%, and Japan got the rest. They would provide a loan to develop the terminal. Japan asked for the East Terminal without any of these. We were against this. I said I will not give it. We did not give it like that.
The president also said that the 19th Amendment to the Constitution should be abolished and added that the country will not be able to move forward if that is not done. President Sirisena added the rumors regarding a public referendum are false and said that a general election would be held in 2 months after the presidential election.
What was expected by the people who drafted the 19th Amendment could not be done. It was totally unsuccessful. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe had mentioned 2 days ago that 2 drivers cannot take the same vehicle. The people granted a license to 1 person to take this vehicle forward. There were 6.25 million people. There was a person who obtained a license from the parliament to sit in the front seat. When the person who received the license from the people and he takes a vehicle by steering it and shifting gears, the person who sat in the front seat is also trying to do this. He too tries to shift gears. He shifts the gear the wrong way. The vehicle crashes, it veers off the road. He's trying to steer the vehicle from time to time. Let me be very clear on this. Be it before the next presidential election or after, whoever comes into power, if someone loves his country, what should be done is to abolish the 19th Amendment. Irrelevant of whoever comes into power, be it me or Ranil Wickremesinghe or someone else, if the 19th is not abolished, the country will be unstable. There will be 2 drivers and there will be 2 governments. The Presidential Secretariat will be 1 government. There will be another at the Temple Trees. 2 months after the next president is elected, a general election will be held for sure. For the next government to carry out the governing properly, it is better if the 19th is abolished before the election. The 19th is a curse to the country. People who have no experience in drafting constitutions compile this.
ඉදිරි ජනාධිපති වර්ණයට කලින් 19 අහෝසි කරනවා නම් ඉතාමත් හොඳයි. 19 රටට සාපයක්. ආණුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථා හදලා නැති, ඒ ගැන කිසිම දැනුමක් නැති බක පඬිතයෝ මේක හැදුවේ ජයම්පති වික්‍රරත්නලයි මේ සුවන්දිරන්ලයි NGO කාර්යෝයි ඔය පාක්ක සෝනි.
This was created by the NGOs. This came to light later. If I knew this, I wouldn't have extended my support for this. The gentlemen in the opposition claim if they come, they will abolish the 19th. They do not, however, say whether the 19th will be brought back or not. That is why I chose this slogan. Both should be abolished. Both these amendments were done because of the hunger for power. There is nothing to speak about the 18th. If the presidency is abolished and if the powers are vested with parliament, then there is no issue in that. Without this being half and half, this should be given to 1 person. Several clauses that were not available at the time of it being approved by Parliament have been added when this was being sent to the government printer. That is why I say the 19th is corrupt. This is a political conspiracy.
දේශපාලන කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් 19.
This president also spoke about the April 21st attacks.
තේරීංකාර සභාවට මාව කැඳවන්න තියෙනවා.
The Parliamentary Special Committee has not decided to summon me. I have not been informed of it and I will not go before the PSC as well. As per what I know, the President cannot be summoned before the PSC. That is a joke. The Special Committee is a political drama. This drama is being practiced at Temple Trees in the evening and it is staged at the Parliament the next day. The PSC has not announced what it hopes to achieve. There are 7 cases in the Supreme Court. The cases will be taken up on the 17th. The Malalgoda Committee report was requested from Parliament. The Attorney General very clearly informed us in writing that the PSC will negatively impact on the cases that are to be taken up at the Supreme Court. The AG also said the Malalgoda Committee report is not to be handed over to Parliament. Will the people of this nation believe what a group of parliamentarians would conclude or what the Supreme Court judges would conclude?
මේ රටේ ජනතාව පිළිගන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ മന്ത്രിවරු ටිකක් වාඩි වෙලා තේරීංකාරක සභාව දෙන තීන්දුවද?
The President at his meeting with the heads of media institutions explained there are ongoing judicial proceedings regarding the April 21st attacks. A 7-judge Supreme Court bench has been appointed for this purpose. However, the Parliamentary Select Committee convened today as well to investigate into the April 21st attacks. The Army Commander testified before the PSC today regarding national security. As a responsible media institution, we have taken a decision not to report the sensitive information that was spoken of before the PSC, as it may well interfere with the ongoing judicial process carried out by the apex judicial body of this country.
An event to mark the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking was held in the Kolonava area today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
I signed the decree for the death penalty on the day against drug abuse. I signed this, but there will be various objections. I will be depicted as a wrongdoer. However, I must clearly state that the racketeers are behind this. The death penalty will be imposed in the coming 2 weeks. These are not things that should be looked at with compassion. The President of Philippines ended the lives of 27,000 without legal cases. If they were engaged in the illegal narcotics trade, then they would get shot. We cannot do that in our country. We must do things under the existing law. If not, what was done by the President of the Philippines was the correct thing. When I said that what the President of the Philippines did was the correct thing to do, international organizations raised their objections. There are fanatics in these NGOs. This is the same in this country as well. These NGOs want to control the country. We must not govern the country according to the wants of the NGOs. I signed the decree for the death penalty to protect the children of this country and to protect the people living in this country. The April 21st attacks may have halted our fight against drugs. However, we will not stop. I might be depicted as a wrongdoer, but I will do the right thing with honesty according to my conscience.
The President announced a drug eradication week from the 23rd of June to the 1st of July in line with the Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. The third day of this drug eradication week was marked at the Kolonava Raja Mahaviharya today. The event commenced after a march was held from Rajagiriya to Kolonava. Programs to educate the general public were also held. The police have seized 1,029 kilograms of heroin during raids that have been carried out during the year thus far. 20,309 suspects have been arrested during the same period. The police media spokesperson said that during the year 2018, 737 kilograms of heroin has been seized, with 40,987 suspects being arrested. In 2017, 29,272 suspects have been arrested, while 278 kilograms of heroin had been seized. In 2016, 27,458 suspects have been arrested, with 196 kilograms of heroin being seized. In the year 2015, 40 kilograms of heroin has been seized, with 26,047 suspects being arrested.
Minister of Transport Arjuna Ranatunga has signed the Gazette declaring the railway service as an essential service. The Ministry of Transport has reached a decision to recruit retired railway workers back into the service. The ministry said retired engine drivers, guards, station masters, signalmen and track inspectors will be recruited back into the service. The ministry requested all retired personnel to visit the Shalika grounds on the 28th of June for processing. Recently, the Railway Trade Union said they would launch a one-day strike action every Thursday if their demands are not met. Moving on to more local news, a seminar on SOFA Economic Corridor and other controversial international agreements with the United States of America was held at the Organization of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka last evening.
Former permanent representative of Sri Lanka to the United Nations, Dr. Palitha Kohona, President's Council Myra Gunawansa, representatives of the OPA and several other experts attended the seminar.
And I find that this is both AXA and SOFA are two of four foundational agreements that are normally signed by non-NATO eligible countries. For me, that means that these are not non-aligned countries anymore. Once you become, you have a right to permanent sovereignty, and that is something no international treaty with any country can violate. And if you violate, then you violate international law. And they use all kinds of other organizations to interfere in the country. So they would use most of the money that's being used, like in MCC activities, and otherwise, it comes from US aid, and the contractors, one of the most important contractors they're referring to in the SOFA agreement is the DAI. A senior US aid official confirmed very recently that the CIA uses US aid's name to issue contracts and funding to third parties in order to provide cover for clandestine operations. He has even admitted it himself. And they have been expelled from a number of countries. Now I'm speaking about DAI and USA, both of them.
Up next is Action TV.
The Minister of Education today denied a claim which states that the Commissioner General of Educational Publication, IMKB Ilangasinghe, had not mentioned that state funds were used to publish a statement followed by the minister's signature and photograph in all school textbooks when testifying before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry. The statement was made at a media briefing organized today to provide a clarification on the matter. The minister also publicized a petition given by IMKB Ilangasinghe today. In this petition, he has stated that while testifying before the commission, he did not mention state funds were spent in order to publish a photograph and a statement by the Minister of Education. He had said so himself in this statement. Several questions were raised as to why IMKB Ilangasinghe, who still holds a position at the Ministry of Education, was not present at the media briefing. No, that is not relevant to me. It is wrong of me to do so. You can ask him yourselves if this is false. In order to justify the fact that a photograph of his was published in textbooks, the minister provided evidence of a poem included in school textbooks which was written by IMKB Ilangasinghe. I saw Ilangasinghe himself has published a poem on the textbooks, so that can be considered an extra cost as well. I do not think he will testify against me because he himself has included this. An extra page has been added because of this poem. Not a photograph, but this has been added. So, if including a statement by the Commissioner General of Educational Publication is not an issue, then I do not know. The people can decide. Journalists also questioned as to if IMKB Ilangasinghe, who testified before the Presidential Commission last Monday, would be removed from his position. To be honest, I do not like doing such things, and I do not have an intention of removing him. The only issue is a complaint has been lodged against him on the 16th of May 2017 when he was the director of the Supply Division. I have ordered for a probe to be conducted on the matter. I am the one who ordered for the probe to be carried out against the Supply Division. Based on the complaint which I received, I divulged all this information to you so you can be better informed. Apart from the aforementioned case on publishing the Education Minister's photograph on school textbooks, the Presidential Commission is carrying out probes into the program set in place to distribute tabs among school children and the Suraksha insurance scheme. This particular individual attached to the Ministry of Education, who lodged the relevant complaints with the Presidential Commission, has been handed a punishment transfer on the 29th of May for providing a statement to our media network. This individual, who is a leader of a trade union, possesses the liberty to provide statements to the media. The petition he has filed against the punishment is yet to be examined at the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission.
The Finance Ministry, releasing a statement to the media, has announced that there is no intention to privatize the People's Bank.
The Finance Ministry alleges that the allegation that the government is trying to privatize the bank by handing over share capital to account holders is false. The Finance Ministry further went on to state that the aim of the draft bill presented to amend the People's Bank Act was done with the aim of providing the bank with the means of raising funds by issuing debentures. The Ministry of Finance further emphasized that once this amendment is passed in Parliament, the employees and depositors can get these securities, and there is no intention to issue equity securities to outsiders. Responding to the release by the Ministry of Finance, the Bank Services Trade Union alleges that the risk of privatizing the People's Bank is yet to diminish. The trade union questions the conditions upon which the insurance of debentures will take place. They further add that if these debentures were issued with the possibility of them being converted to shares if the need arises, is a serious problem. The trade unions also state that information regarding the repayment period and information regarding repayments also need to be made public in addition to the initial conditions. The trade union questions the Finance Ministry as to whether the People's Bank, which is a fully owned state bank, will not see shares issued or privatization carried out in any case.
Another Sri Lanka army soldier who was severely injured from last afternoon's accident in Murukandi, Kilinochchi, passed away late last night.
Sri Lanka Army spokesperson Brigadier Sumit Tatapattu said another soldier is being treated at the Jaffna hospital. The accident took place when a Sri Lanka Army truck with 7 personnel on board crashed onto the Yaldevi train plying from Colombo to Kankasanthare around 1:45 p.m. The spokesperson added the accident took place when the soldiers were en route to collect water. Police said it is questionable if the signals were functioning at the time of the accident. Signal lights at the unguarded railway crossing between the Kilinochchi and Murukandi stations were not in operation today as well. This happens on a daily basis. The signals are not working. We request this to be fixed. According to our correspondent, 8 people have been killed in accidents in the same area. We came across many similar unguarded railway crossings in Kilinochchi. Residents charge that signalling systems at the railway crossings in Anandapuram, Karadipoku and Ganeshapuram areas are not functioning. Unguarded railway crossings were seen in Jaffna as well. Newsfirst cameras recorded the footage of unguarded railway crossings in Jaffna, Nedumkulam, Pumbuhar and Mavattapuram areas in this manner. We have showed this to authorities on numerous occasions. We have a large number of unemployed youth here in our area. We can employ them as gatekeepers. Isn't it the responsibility of the authorities to take immediate action with regard to unguarded railway crossings?
Muskelia veterinarian Deshapriya Senadiri testified before the Presidential Commission probing fraud and corruption at state institutions over the importation of dairy heifers to the country via the Ministry of Rural Economic Development.
Muskelia veterinarian Deshapriya Senadira revealed before the Presidential Commission that a disease known as Mycoplasma bovis was discovered among several heifers at a private farm in Muskelia. He confirmed the heifers contracted the disease before they were shipped to Sri Lanka. He added there is no vaccination for this disease. Countries like Australia and New Zealand put down such infected animals, and that he too instructed for the infected heifers in Sri Lanka to be put down. The veterinarian made these comments while presenting photographs and videos of affected animals to the Commission. Further examination of evidence on this matter will take place on the 5th of July.
The Central Committee of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party convened at the President's official residence this evening. The meeting was chaired by President Maithripala Sirisena. Speaking to Newsfirst, a senior party member said the presidential election and the current political situation of the country was discussed at the meeting. Now, also another round of discussions between the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna ended without an agreement today. General Secretary of the SLFP, Dayasiri Jayasekara, said another round of discussions will be held on the 5th of July. Several proposals, including the structure of the proposed alliance, were discussed between the two parties today. MP Dayasiri Jayasekara said a decision about a presidential candidate could be made following discussions about a progressive left alliance. On to more local news, the National Freedom Front held a media briefing at the party headquarters today.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා ප්‍රබල ප්‍රකාශයක් කරලා තිබුණා 19 වෙනි ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනය හදලා තියෙන NGO කාර්යයන්ගේ උමනාවට හදපු එකක්. ඒ වගේ මේක අහෝසි කළ යුතුයි කියලා.
19 වෙනි ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනය ගැන අවුරුදු 4මාරක් ගිහිල්ලා හරි තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙච්ච එක ලොකු දෙයක් එතුමට. නමුත් සාමූහිකව ගත්තු තීන්දුවට අවනත වීමක් හැටියට තමයි ඒ වෙලාවේ අපි විරුද්ධව ඡන්දය පාවිච්චි කරන්න තනියම කටයුතු නොකළේ. නමුත් අපි ඒකාබද්ධ විපක්ෂය තුල දිගින් දිගටම මතාරගලයක නිලුණා මේකට පක්ෂ විය යුතු නැහැ කියලා.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියන මේක අහෝසි කළ යුතුයි කියන කාරණාවට ඔබතුමා එකගයි.
අනේ එතුමා කියන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. අපි ওই මතේ බොහෝ දුරට අපි ඉන්නවා.
මොකද්ද මේ ඔබතුමාලා ඇත්තටම කවුද ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයෙක්?
ඒක තව ටික දවසකින් ප්‍රකාශයටපත් වෙනවානේ. මම අවශ්‍ය නැහැ ඔබට උත්තර දෙන්න.
A media conference was convened at the office of the leader of the opposition earlier today.
හනමිනි සංශෝධනෙන් රට යම් අවුලක් නිර්මාණය කර බව ඇත්ත.
Yes, it is true that the 19th Amendment has made the country a mess to some degree, but we must analyze things. This mess was created on the 9th of January when unconstitutionally, illegally, Ranil Wickremesinghe was made the Prime Minister in a parliament of 225 where 47 were in support. This was the beginning of the end.
තමයි මේ විනාශයේ ආරම්භක ලකුණ.
වෙල්ගම හිටපු අමාත්‍යවරයා බොහොම බරපතල විදියට ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාට චෝදනා කරනවා. මොකද්ද ඔබතුමා මේ පිළිවන් දරනවා?
තාම කෙටියෙන් කියනවා නම් මගේ මිත්‍ර වෙල්ගම මැතිතුමාගේ
To be very clear, I very kindly put aside the comments made by my friend Velgama. What I felt about these comments at first was disgust, then shame and finally sadness. This is because both Kumara and I came to Parliament together at the parliamentary elections held in August 1994. We sat together. Even now, we sit close together in the same row. We may have differing opinions, but I am certain that not even Gotabaya Rajapaksha's worst enemy makes the allegation that Gotabaya ran away in fear of the war. That is what. This must be spoken of internally, within the alliance.
මුලා ඉඳලම මේ විදිහේ ප්‍රකාශ කරලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒකටවත් විනය ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් හෝ කිසියම් වෙන ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් අරගෙන කතාවක් තිබෙනවා මේ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාට එතුමාට විරුද්ධව ක්‍රියා කරන්න බෑ කියලා.
Report that I had a good laugh.
Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa, expressed these views at his ministry today. When I was distributing Samurdhi benefits in the Hambantota district, I mentioned that false statistics will be presented with regard to poverty. 28 to 31% of the entire population is families benefiting from Samurdhi. I have mentioned that in 2009 it was 31% and then 30% and so on. So in that sense, the number of people that are now poor is equal to the sum that receive Samurdhi. According to statistics, in 2009, the percentage of families in poverty was 8.9%. In 2010, it was 8.9%. In 2012, it was 6.5%. In 2013, it was 6.5%. All these statistics are false. These were put in place to create a false easiness within the people. Even though they say poverty level has reduced, they provide benefits to 20%, then what is the truth? I would like to tell educated Dr. Bandula Gunawardana, due to the statistics that they presented, we have lost aid we were to receive. I say responsibly that this is how we came to the position of obtaining high-cost loans.
Famed ballet dancer and founder of Usha Garden of Ballet, Usha Saranamuthu has passed away at age 87.
The late Usha Sarvanamuthu, who was honoured with the Kalasuri National Award by the Sri Lankan government for her yeoman service to the Sri Lankan arts and culture, was also the founder of the Usha Garden of Ballet. Apart from being one of the leading ballet dancers in Sri Lanka, she was also a reputed choreographer, pianist and violinist. Being one of the pioneers in teaching ballet in Sri Lanka since 1964, the number of pupils she has taught is countless. With a rich history of over 55 years, she was a pioneer in the teaching of ballet in Sri Lanka. Her school has seen thousands of students dance through their doors since its inception in 1964. Her husband, Mr. Mohan Vijay Singha, also passed away peacefully on the same day. Usha Sarvanamuthu is the mother of prominent public policy critic Dr. Paikiyasoti Sarvanamuthu. Her final rites were carried out earlier this evening.